They called it the red weapon. I'm like, when I heard the name, I was like, this is gonna be a nightmare. One of the regrets I have is not having read that book earlier in my life.
Biggest thing is that we take for granted power, water. I think this is probably one of the big mindset shifts I really want to see my boys have, right? Like even just the device you have, that would feed some families would love to have it, but they would sell it so they could feed their family for 3 to 6 months.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Creator Legacy Podcast. I'm here with a very special guest. This is the man, the legend, Cristobal.
Hey, thanks for having me. You guys threw me in the deep end for this one, but I'm right. Down, man. I'm down for the adventure.
You got our setup all perfected too.
Yeah. No, I like the lights you have, the microphone. You got it. You guys have a very professional setup right now.
Yes, sir. Mm. We're here to win, so I told Rob we're gonna do whatever it takes to
win.
To win.
Yes.
Yeah. Due time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're launching for. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Cristobal. I know you, but maybe the audience doesn't know you. They will get to know you very well. Best cinematographer in the world.
Best cinematographer in the world. I like that. No, I've been in video production for the past 15 years. I started this journey as a kid. 15, my dad bought me one of those 1.3 megapixel cameras.
1.3?
1.3 back in the early 2000s. It was Olympus digital cameras, yeah. So I was
I got 1 megapixel.
I got 1.3. Oh shit, it's better than yours. But yeah, I was the only one in my school that had a digital camera, so I automatically became my Boy Scout group's photographer. So every time we went out for camping, I was the one taking pictures, climbing up all the way into the top of the trees and try to get the
perfect angle.
The perfect angle, yeah.
I don't think I've heard this story. Go ahead.
Oh, that's it. That's how it started. That's what piqued my interest in it. And then I didn't really have a guide or a mentor that told me, that this photography and video thing is actually a thing you can do with your life. Like it's a career path. I had no idea. And then at that time I was living in a church with my family. So my dad had gone to Japan to visit, and he brought back one of those Sony Hi8 video camcorders,
Yeah.
The old tapes that you put in.
Okay.
And his purpose was, hey, you can use this for all the church events. So we record the church events, and then you can record me when he's giving the lectures and doing this and that and that. Of course, it never ended up being used that way. I would just record whatever, just explore with it.
What was Cristobal recording?
Yeah.
What were those early Cristobal videos?
I don't remember. It was more about just I loved getting into the machine and figuring out all the little settings and nitty gritty inside the camera. So once you get in all the details, you saw me when I grabbed your camera, I'm like tick, 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 right away.
Man, I just see numbers and I get confused. So that's why I asked you to set it up. I was like, please just set it up so it works.
Well, hopefully it looks good at the end.
I'm sure it will.
So yeah, that's how it started, and so that sparked kind of interest in me for that world of video, photography, and that it was a way of I like capturing moments, and I think that's the first spark that came in, and then I left Uruguay. I traveled.
This was all in Uruguay?
This was all in Uruguay. I was 15 to 18. And then I once I graduated high school, kind of that stopped.
Yeah.
And it was in college, years later in college. Shout out to my good friend Maciej Grabowski.
Maciej Grabowski?
That's
a name for you. Where's he from?
He's from Poland.
Poland, okay.
Very, very smart guy. And he was a very artistic guy. And he convinced our college at that time I was in South Korea. He convinced our college in South Korea to buy him a Canon camcorder.
Okay.
Same concept. We'll buy the camcorder, so we record all the college events, the presentations. If we have a special speaker come in, we'll come in with a camcorder and we'll record. Of course, I think we only did one or two, but mostly we used it for our own purposes.
Of course.
So I remember we even recorded a music video with it.
Oh, serious?
No way.
And that was the first time, we kind of detailed it out. I was playing the guitar, he was playing the cello. We recorded but what made it all click to me was in the library of the university, they had Avid. They had two rows of Avid computers. I think on each row they had 4 computers for Avid, massive setup for them, and then they had the Final Cut setup, which was only one. But because nobody used PC, everybody used PCs. Nobody was using Mac at that time.
Yeah.
And he was the only one Mac user. Like that video editing machine was always free. So we booked it and we sat down and we started editing the video. And he knew how to edit video, edit with Final Cut. So I was sitting behind him and seeing how he was putting the clips together, adding the effects.
What software were you using then? Was it?
Oh, it was
Adobe
fun.
then?
No, Adobe was out there, but this was in 2008, 2007.
Okay.
So Adobe was, in terms of the market share for digital, what they call non-linear editing, NLEs, it was the biggest in the market was Avid at that time. Avid, yes.
Yeah.
Avid, what's it called? Media Composer, I think. I forget the name. That's how I started editing. But he and Final Cut was just starting to break through.
Yeah.
So we were using Final Cut 7, I think, at that time. And I was just watching him cutting pieces together, and that's where everything clicked. Oh, all this now you can edit and put it all together.
Yeah.
And it sparked in me like, oh, I remember this. This is what I really like doing.
Yeah.
So I left college. I went back to Spain to live with my parents. At that time, I had my daughter was born, and I found out that in the town that I was living, Guitiriz in Galicia, they actually had a program. So shout out to the TIC in
The what?
TIC, TIC.
TIC.
They had 2 modules for production, and it was like an associate's degree.
Yeah.
But what I loved about it is when you go to college for filmmaking, it's 4 years of college,
Right.
but you spend 3 years basically just studying,
Reading books.
and writing a paper about why the early cinematographers that came out of Russia from 1920 blah 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 and all this and
Learning from people that failed at cinematography.
yeah, correct. Yeah. No, which is great. It's a great source of inspiration to see how they develop. But in terms of like actually doing it, it doesn't teach you anything.
Yeah.
Right.
What I liked about this program was like it was full on, hands on. So they had 2 modules. One was in Spanish they call it producción y realización, which basically means kind of like production, and realización would be the actual filming of it. So I was able to get in. It was a wild run because I needed to apply, but I didn't have my college was from South Korea, so to get that all translated and blah blah blah, it would have been wild. So I had to call up a friend in Uruguay, be like, dude, I need my high school diploma. I need it like stamped.
Wow.
I needed
Really?
to and it was a wild thing because you had to go to the bureaucracy in Uruguay is wild. So you had to go to one place so that they can send it over to some bureaucracy for education, and then they printed out this like 5-page or 10-page thing of like, yes, he graduated. Had handwritten paper stamped and like clamped with like waxed and everything. It's the old school. So I had him mail it over.
Wait, you said mail it over. Where are you at now?
I was in Spain, but I had finished my high school in Uruguay. So I'm calling my friend. Shout out to Juan Martin Chamikian, Armenian motherfucker. And he
That's
was
a good
like,
thing.
Yeah, no, I love Armenians, the best. But he sent it over. He FedExed me, and I got in last. And I was on the waiting list because they had it full, and I was like, oh, please let me get in. And then at the end, right before they were about to start, like a week before the course started, a few people dropped off. So I was able to get in last of that group. So I got into Realización, which was the actual filming production module.
Yeah.
And it was 2 years of hands-on. And I remember the first class with Hugo was like, here's a camera, here's the lens, go shoot a news. segment.
Oh,
So
wow.
imagine we're doing like a
Just like that.
just like that. It was.
What do you mean? You had to like find something, or just
It
shoot a
was-
segment just for practice?
So practice would be like, all right, this is the news. Imagine you're doing a news about there was a robbery in the school,
Oh,
and
shit.
they stole all the equipment. So you have to go out there and shoot different angles and edit it. But you know, this is when the 5D Mark II broke in. This was what.
What's a 5D Mark II?
5D Mark II. So up until the
Is that an Iron Man suit or something?
yeah, that's right. You just, you just snap and it comes in all perfect with the camera right in your head. No, 5D Mark II is Canon. Just a little bit of history. Up until 2007, the barrier of entry to do film
Yeah.
was very difficult. Like you would have to spend thousands and thousands, $10,000 just to be able to buy equipment, get equipment, and be able to do something that's you know television level or even cinema level quality, right? So the way to get in is you would have to get into a production or study or you know, and rise up the ranks to get access to that type of level, right? Suddenly the 5D Mark II comes out where you can shoot 1080p at 24 frames per second using a full frame camera. And by full frame camera means the size of the sensor of the camera is large, where you can get a beautiful image from like a picture quality camera.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're getting like the cinematic quality framing look with the cost that's less than $2,000.
From something you could buy at a store.
You can buy at a store, right?
Yeah.
And that opened the whole new market in 2007. It revolutionized. Like literally, there's a before and after 5D Mark II.
Really?
Yes. So
Interesting.
So if you talk
Canon
to
started it all.
Canon did a good thing, and that started the whole DSLR movement. So right now we're shooting on I think an A7 IV. So because of the 5D Mark II, it started the whole DSLR movement.
Yeah.
You know, going out shooting with that type of format with a camera.
Yeah.
That didn't exist before.
Wow.
So the school had like 3 or 4 of the 5Ds Mark II. So coming back to the story is Hugo gave us, here's a 5D. This is a Canon. Here's a lens. He gave me the 70 to 200.
Yeah.
So for those who know, it's like a telephoto lens.
Okay.
Which is crazy because to shoot a film, to shoot anything, you know, you have a very narrow. So I had to like, you know, you sit all the way back and like try to get but
So to the back of the room and everything.
back of the room. So that's what I mean. It was very hands-on. So when we learned things, it was about this is how you do it. Go out and do it.
Yeah.
So it was a module where we learned the technical aspects of it, and then we would do it right away.
Yeah.
And I loved it. The first year was great. You know, we learned scripting, we learned how to shoot for film, and all that. And the second year was actually television. So what was awesome about the school is that they actually had a whole television production in the town where they filmed actual TV. They had a whole setup. They had a what's it called, a television studio. They had the stage where they had I think up to 5 cameras.
Yeah.
And like when you go into an actual television, you had forgetting the name of the studio, you know, where you see all the different camera angles, and you had the technical director and the graphics person and the recording. Wow. So we had that whole setup. So the second
At school, which
at
is
school,
cool.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we actually learned from guys who had been in the industry for.
That's huge.
For forever, you know. I learned a lot from them. Like one of my teachers, David Pardo, he had been a video editor for news channels, and he was strict as hell. Like he was literally the one who gave us, this is what you will encounter in real life.
Yeah.
Right. So he was like, no bullshit, edit. Like it has to be done this quick. Like he was very strict with us, and I loved it because it gave you a sense of once we jump into the industry, it's like there's no hand holding, you have to be on your game. So I loved that about it, and so I learned a lot through those years, and with that experience of those 2 years, I got I graduated, and then I moved here to the Bay Area.
Nice.
And that
what brought you to the Bay Area?
Woo! Okay.
We'll dive into that one later.
So that was my basically the start of how I got into this whole world of video and television and film, and in the end, it's a media format, it's a visual format, but it's about telling stories.
Yeah.
And how you capture those stories.
Exactly.
It's up to you how you want to present that, and there's a whole language that comes in when you're trying to tell a story visually, right? It's not just pointing a camera, but it's like, why are you using the angle you're using? Why are you using the lights that you're using to push forward the narrative that you're trying to tell?
Exactly.
And so that was the great thing about it. And yeah, so shout out to the TIC. Learned a lot from you guys back in Gitiris, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
That's
What an
awesome.
interesting life. Like, so
And
you've been everywhere.
Lugo, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So like, because why are you traveling so much? Was it because of the?
Why did I travel so much?
Yeah.
My parents were missionaries for a religious group,
Okay.
and my dad always called himself a pioneer, and so he's a very eclectic and very intellectual man, a philosopher, I would say. So he was sent to different parts of the world to whatever the mission was. He had different purposes, and so growing up, I grew up as a kid in Honduras. So I lived for
Honduras.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Now
Comes
we're
full
talking.
circle.
Yeah.
it comes from
We're related somehow, right?
somehow, yeah, of course. You're brother from another mother, big brother. What's going on, Chase?
Okay, let's talk about Honduras because that's.
The Vietnamese Honduran over
Yeah,
there.
yeah. What's going on? How's your Spanish now? I know you spent
I
some
think,
time with it.
yeah, we're good.
It's good, it's good. ¿Hablas español ahora? ¿Cómo está?
Sí, muy bien.
Muy bien, muy bien.
Yeah, vamos a hacer ese podcast en español.
En español,
okay?
thank you,
Whoa,
Rob.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Inglés, por favor.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, so that's why I traveled a lot, and then spent some time in Hong Kong as well. And then
Wow.
I guess the formation in terms of as a kid was in Uruguay. I almost spent 10 years there, from 12 to I would say almost 20, 21 years old. I was in Uruguay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how does Honduras fit the picture, or like, were you there for a while, or?
I was there until I was 8 years old.
Oh, so you.
So I was a kid. Yeah.
So you were a kid in Honduras.
Yeah, I remember.
Do you remember anything? How was
Yeah,
it
yeah, I
back
remember.
then? Oh
I
my
remember
God.
mostly the house we grew up in, and going to school. That's about it. And traveling here and there. We'll go visit my family in El Salvador. My mom's from El Salvador. Things like that.
Oh my God.
Wait, have you ever lived in El Salvador? Because you're from El Salvador, right?
I
confused.
finally got my citizenship maybe 2 years ago. So
Dual
yeah,
citizenship.
I'm
There you go.
Salvadorian now.
Are you Spanish too? You have Spanish citizenship?
I'm also Spanish citizenship.
Free.
Oh my
so
God.
that, and I'm also
Man.
American. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ladies, marry him now.
there's a long list. So chill, ladies.
Okay, the wait list is pretty long.
They're lining up outside the door right now.
We'll hear somebody knocking on the door. ¿Qué pasó? So yeah, that's why I traveled a lot as a kid, and super grateful for that. It gave me a different perspective on how to view the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, speaking to Rob, you and a lot of our friends. They now that they're coming into their own, and now they're able to have that money coming in.
Right.
They're able to travel now,
Yeah.
but they're starting to see the world now as adults,
Mm-hmm.
which I had the opposite. I was able to see the world as a kid, so I wouldn't call it a warped perspective, but I have a more naive view of the world growing up. And what I call naive, I said it's more not naive, but more
Innocent.
Sheltered. Yeah.
sheltered, innocent view of the world, and I keep that very to heart, because it's a different perspective, and yeah.
Because traveling as an adult, it's like you're exposed to different things and you're more independent on your own versus when you're with your parents or your family. It's like you're only going to see what they allow you to see. And they obviously want to shelter you to some extent, depending on the parents.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I think there was that. There was a book I read the other day, and it was like it's called like Die with Zero or something like that.
Yeah.
So this guy, like, he's a fund manager. He already made like hundreds of millions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's in his 40s, and he's like, gotta prioritize the things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like for his kids, right? Because he has so much money. He's like, I don't want to just like give my kids 100 million, right? Like, how do I give them the best experience of their life?
Yeah.
And he's like, gotta take my kids traveling. Gotta spend time with my kids.
Yeah.
Because, well, I don't know, because you're a dad, right, Rob?
Yeah.
So it's a different story.
No, I definitely, like, for me, I think, like, looking back, I would love to have that experience where you're living in a place where, because a lot of people get into this where, like, oh, they'll travel somewhere for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but you never really settle in for maybe a month, right?
Yeah.
So you don't really know a place until you've been there for like a month. And a lot of people just stay at resorts.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of resorts. I usually like staying at like the dumpy hotels. Because I'm cheap.
Yeah.
Because you like in with the people, right? But you gotta be somewhere for like a significant period of time. It's like my boys, as soon as they hit 18, I'm like, go live in Australia for a year. Go live in Tokyo for a year.
Yeah.
Go live in Honduras
Yeah.
or Uruguay or Colombia, right? How long you been in Colombia for? 2 years?
Almost a year.
Almost a year. And then you really get to know the people. You get to kind of know what the country's all about. And you see a lot different perspective versus just, you know, oh, I spent a week in Medellin for a bachelor party. It's like, that doesn't really tell you much of anything.
You don't know, yeah.
You know how to party and get drunk.
That's about it. Yeah.
So out of all the countries, like what's your favorite?
I don't have a favorite, but definitely I have Uruguay. Uruguay. I have it very close to my heart, and most of my, like those friends that you have forever that you don't talk to them for years, and next time you see them, it's like no time has passed.
Oh yeah.
They're all, I would say, in Uruguay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
How long were you were there? So for
From
about 5
12,
years?
from 12 to 20, 21 years old. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's like your formative years too.
Yeah.
So made you. So he's your. If you had to pick one other than American, right?
Yeah.
What would you be? Are you Spanish? Are you El Salvadoran? What's the term for that? Are you Uruguayan?
What's interesting, I like where we're going with this question. I don't. So I've struggled. I didn't struggle it, but what's interesting is when I was in Uruguay, I was the American. I was the gringo. When I'm here, I'm the Latino.
Latino,
right?
yeah.
Right. And then
Latinx, whatever the new term
yeah.
is.
So it's fuck that shit. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get into that later. Latinx, X for what? It's some Berkeley professor in like Ivory Tower saying X. Get out of here.
Whatever they want to come up with.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They
No,
change the
I
language.
won't accept it. No,
Yeah.
hell no. I'm not gonna have some California teachers tell me what a Latino is.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell no.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Right.
Listen to Cristobal.
Listen to Cristobal.
But yeah,
Listen to all of us.
yeah, I can be a chameleon when it needs to. But
Yeah.
in the end, I think I just heard a podcast from Brute de Force on X. Yeah, he's a
Okay.
fascinating guy.
Yeah.
And in it,
Brute
he
de
says,
Force.
Brute de Force, yes, he's cool. He was talking about, it's not about, you're always trying to change yourself, but from his perspective, you can't change who you are.
Exactly.
You're always going to develop, you're always going to get improved, but in the end, you have to be savagely who you are.
Yeah.
And that touched me, that got to me, it's like, I've always tried to fit in.
Yeah.
When I'm realizing it's the complete opposite. It's I don't have to fit in. I have to be who I am, 100%. And I'm fortunate to have grown up in different countries, and that's who I am. I'm a man of international.
many
Yeah,
cultures.
yeah.
The international man.
International man. Yeah.
International man of mystery. We're gonna go cliche on that one.
Yeah, baby.
I love it.
Oh, cut that. Wow, interesting.
Very cool.
So what is it about Roatan? You wanted to talk about Roatan. In
Rotan's Honduras, right?
Yes, Roatan is Honduras. It's an island.
Yeah, because you spent some time there, right?
Yeah, like
tell me about your experience.
Yeah,
'cause
why don't you tell us about your experience
in
in
Roatan.
Rotan?
No, it was wild because this is I had a dream, right? That I wanted to live because I before this I visited Mexico many times, Central America. But then I was like, what if I can live on an island, right? Because we all dream of that because we all come from the Bay Area, tech, right? Working a lot, and I was like, what if I can just find a job where I can live in front of the beach, literally on the beach.
Right.
And it was weird. I had a conversation with Rob. We went out for dinner. Oh yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
Which one was this?
That was the one in Oakland. We had a dinner.
Oakland.
We had many dinners.
Okay.
All right, dinner in Oakland, good. Yeah.
Dinner in Oakland.
It was like this was what 2 years ago? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Almost 3 years.
Summer.
Yeah,
No,
May.
summer 2 years ago. Yeah.
May, yeah. So 2.5 years. So we had a conversation. I think Raymond was there, right? And I think you guys were looking at me, and I was
Raymond.
just, yeah, Raymond. Remember Raymond?
Raymond.
Yeah.
Oh, Raymond. Yeah.
Raymond.
We all remember Raymond.
Yeah.
Shout out to Raymond. Yeah.
Shout out to Raymond for sure.
So I was on the verge, right? At the time, I was working at the airport.
Yeah.
I was a training supervisor, and in this position, I travel a lot, right? within U.S. territory because I have to go to new location, you know, and I was fed up with it. And
that was for Alaska or Delta? I can't remember.
It was for Delta and American Airlines.
Okay, nice.
You know, so it was fun, challenging. But at the time, like I was like, if I keep going, like I'm gonna go insane, you know, because I've been working graveyard job for almost 5 years. Right. So it was just so happened that we had that dinner, and then I think Raymond asked me like, Chase, like if you don't like whatever you're doing, why not just do something else? Right. So he looked at me dead in the eye. He was so serious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit. All right. You know what? This guy has a point. You know. I mean, I've been a bitch. I've been complaining about it. I hate my job. I don't want to do this anymore. I hate it. Right. So I quit my job, and literally the next day, like 12 hours later, I got this text message from my ex-boss. You know, this is someone who I respected very much because she worked in the hotel industry, right?
Okay.
The hospitality. So she used to be a VP of Marriott, so she's right up there, you know. So I worked for her 10 years ago or 8 years ago at that time. She's like, Chase, what's up? I was like, no, not much. I just quit my job. And she's like, oh, perfect. I actually have.
Isn't that weird how that works?
Yeah, it's usually like that, right? It's
That's
like,
how you know you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Because things just happen.
And the
Right?
way
It sounds weird, but it just happens.
Yeah.
Right? It's the whole personal legend thing that he was talking about yesterday. If you guys haven't read The Alchemist, definitely read it again.
Yeah.
I read it like 3 times. Have you ever read it?
I read it like 20 times.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah. So I got this text from her, and she was like, Chase, what do you know about Honduras?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. It sounds like the worst place to be. You know? All the news, right? All the dads. MS-13. I don't know if that in El Salvador or that's in Honduras, but it's a place that you want to avoid. She's like, well, I've got an opportunity for you, right? How does it sound if you can be a resort manager? I was like, ooh, resort manager. You know, I don't know, Aina, do you want to like give me a proposal or something? So literally 5 minutes later, I got a proposal from her. She sent me this long document, right? All this stuff, right? And then the only thing I didn't like about it was that the salary, you know, it was only, I think, $2,000 a month.
Wow.
Yeah. And
But you don't need much to live down there, right?
Oh yeah. And the great thing is like everything was paid for, right? It includes room and board. So, right, so I get the front house in front of the beach, right? Because I have to live on the property to manage it. So that was that, and then I get a company car, unlimited gas, food, everything's paid for.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that was always been my thing, right? I never wanted to work for money.
Yeah.
I wanted to work for the benefits. You know, so that's something that appealed to me, right? She was like, I don't care about the money. Give me the benefits, give me the free food. So I took the job, you know, and literally a week later, I just packed my bag. Like, okay, what do I need? 3 shorts, 4 shirts, and 4 underwears. That's it. And my iPad. So that's all I packed, you know.
And you went on the adventure.
Yeah, and
It was about 6 months, right?
about 5 months.
5 months.
Yeah, and I think I came back once to visit the boys, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, I went back, and then I just couldn't stand it because it was just so boring.
Yeah.
You know, like for us, we like being busy, right?
Yeah.
We like doing multiple projects. And then on this island, it was just so chill. Like, there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
You know, you answer messages and you task out the stuff and you come up with. I was in charge of not only running the hotel, but also creating like packages, like tours, experiences.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to upsell that, right?
Yeah.
Because the real money is not in the rooms. You know what I mean? It's
It's in all the resort packages. Oh, the food.
the food,
Okay.
right? The
Makes sense.
experience, the stuff like that. So we were, I was working with multiple people, and it was kind of like a sales position. In a way, I have to go and meet different vendors on the island. Right? Oh, so that girl over there. Oh, what is she good at? Oh, she's good at cooking. All right, let me hire her to be a chef.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that girl doing? Oh, she's good at sales. Okay, I'm gonna task her to be on the beach and hustle the American tourist,
Okay.
Yeah.
right? To sell our packages and give her a percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a fun thing, but I was like, oh man, after 5 months, I was like, I cannot do this anymore. It's like you're on an island, you know.
Yeah.
Like Amazon doesn't come for if you order something, it takes a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I want to hear Cristobal's experience.
Is Roatan the island or is it just an area in Honduras?
So Roatan is an island off the coast of Honduras.
Okay.
So I think it's a few hours away from
It's an hour, right?
an hour from
An hour
Tegucigalpa.
Okay.
And,
Is that the main
in
city?
Plain, yeah, that's the capital of Honduras. And I think on ferry it's an hour away from the coast. You can even see. I think we were able to even see from the island. You can see
La Cepa.
you can see the coast of Honduras, right? But it's what was interesting is going back to Honduras. Because living in Tegucigalpa, you're in the capital city. There's aspects of you're in the capital city, so you're not going to experience the island life. So for me, it was interesting going back and going to Roatan. It was interesting because we had a driver there. I forget his name, but cool guy, and he was telling us a little bit of the story of Roatan. It's basically a pirate island. Pirate island. It was an island where pirates would
like
land
arg pirates. Are we talking about a different kind of pirate?
No, the arg pirates. He would tell me that they would sell. You would go to the markets or the flea markets. They had the kids would sell old whiskey and
like rum bottles.
Rum bottles that they you would find, and they said, where do they find them? Well, they find them in the beach, stuck in the
treasure there. Some very gold. Oh, no,
I would not put that away. I was saying that idea is there, So
he got the map though.
That's why Chase was really out
there.
Yeah,
like digging. Yeah. So Vietnamese pirate over here. Yeah. So, where's the go?
The look there, maybe. Where's your hat, man? Where's your hat?
I patched too. Where's my parrot? It's a extremely poor island, and he was telling us that they didn't have electricity up until the early 90s.
Wow.
They had no electricity. So the people lived there like they had lived for the past 200 years up until the 90s, and even now you're there and the lights would go out.
Yeah.
So, and it's but the reason why I went there is I got hired as a cinematographer by I2 Vision. Shout out to I2 Vision, and I worked with
I2 what?
I2 Vision.
Okay.
I think that they're a media company based down in San Diego.
Okay.
And they were doing a kind of like a quick documentary about a missionary group that goes out there, and they provide eye healthcare, ophthalmology, eye healthcare to the locals for free, or for like a very nominal price, like very affordable. And if those who can't pay it, they'll still offer the service. And
that's cool.
Zeiss, the company Zeiss, they're an optic company, had donated I think 4 or 5 high-end, top of the line, I think microscopes and different machines for scanning eyes, and I'm not in that world, so I don't know what specific. But so
big fancy machines
to help out this mission group. So we were out there to showcase what this mission, with the help of Zeiss, how this mission group is helping out the locals, and we were out there interviewing the doctors, the ophthalmologists. So they're actually I gained massive respect for them because. I'm as a craftsman and somebody, I take pride in what I do. I was watching them, true craftsmen. I got the opportunity to be in the operating room filming while they were operating cataracts on the locals. Yeah, it was cataracts, and what each person had different eye problem, but watching them just doing it, coming in there with the music and just operating like it was another day at the office. I could see true craftsmanship there, and they're offering that to the locals there. And we would interview them. Some of them, I would interview like 70-year-old grandmas. I was like, when was the last time you had a eye checkup?
Okay.
Never. Right.
And these are adults, right?
The adults. They've never had eye. The last time they done it was like 30 years ago. Because the healthcare there is, they're so far removed from the mainland Honduras that they don't get healthcare, and any healthcare they can get is expensive, extremely expensive for them, and they would have to travel to mainland Honduras just to get anything very simple. So what this mission group was offering was life changing for them. They now suddenly. They would fix the cataracts on their eyes, and now they can actually see again. very touching moment for me was, I think the last day there, an older gentleman, he had done the cataract surgery the day before, and so they would come in the next day for a checkup to remove the bandage, and the nurse there. I apologize that your name escapes me. Amazing.
Been a long time.
She's been doing this for over 25 years. She's been there in Roatan from the beginning. Very loving person. But she's removing the Band-Aid from this gentleman and takes it off, and she takes like 6-7 feet away and starts going, how many fingers? It goes like 1, 3. And you could tell from his facial, his expression, like he was about to cry, but he was holding it in. My man, I don't want to cry, but you could tell like it was an extremely life changing.
That all the time. You're gonna make me cry, Chris.
It was a life changing moment for him that suddenly this disease or this ailment that he's having suffered was fixed in less than 2 days. So it's amazing. Yeah. So that's what I was doing over there in Roatan. Yeah.
Do you still have the footage for that?
I think yesterday evening, the director Creighton Anderson, shout out to Creighton, he sent me the kind of like the final cut, for the video.
When was this?
This was maybe 2 months ago.
2 months ago.
I thought this was years ago.
No, this was very recent. Yeah,
my God, really?
2 months ago. Yeah.
But you were just in Honduras a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
spent there a week. Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah.
When did I didn't know that. Where were you? You were hiding it out in Honduras.
Oh no, I think I said I was going on. I don't know. Just fun.
I missed that detail.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
It was a great experience. So yeah, it was. For me, it was to see what they're doing, see how they're helping out the locals, and completely out of the goodness and out of their heart. So, and Darren Bowers, one of the main ophthalmologists. I'm apologizing the name for all the ophthalmologists, the doctors there, but they, what they're offering there is impressive. It's great.
Yeah.
So to see how giving back to the community. So
yeah, definitely. That's really cool, especially because I think that's been my biggest thing. Like I'm trying to travel for longer durations, but with kids, it's a little bit more challenging. As soon as they're a little older, then I'll be going for a month, 2 months, 3 months. Yeah. But one of the biggest things is we take for granted power, water. I mean, we have good weather just because of where we live, but it's all these things we take for granted, like having healthcare, having even accessible healthcare is just basic stuff. Yeah. But it's in most other parts of the world, and I think this is probably one of the big mindset shifts I really want to see my boys have, right? Even just the device you have, that would feed some families would love to have it, but they would sell it so they could feed their family for 3 to 6 months. And it's just for me, that's the most eye-opening thing. It's some of these people don't have basics, right? Yeah. Even bank accounts. Some of my team members, they don't have a bank account. Right. How do you not have a bank account? But it's things we take for granted.
I agree with you 100%. I came back with that mindset, that knowledge, and now I cannot complain. I literally cannot complain about anything because I got light, I got water, I got hot water, I got friends, I got car, I got access to internet, electricity, food, healthcare. Over there it's bare bones. They're just living day by day, but they have a happy existence. And we took a boat ride out there, because some of the houses are literally the only way you can access them is through a boat.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it a jungle around it?
Yeah, it's a tropical island.
Really
isolated.
Okay.
So it was amazing. We were taking a boat ride, and then on some of the houses are right on the water, so they can just jump. And there was these 2 kids playing in the water, and they were literally playing with a refrigerator door.
Oh.
And the refrigerator door, because it was floating.
Yeah.
So they were floating in it, and it was a little raft, and they were just playing, jumping in. So we went out there on the boat ride. We saw them, we waved at them, and then we came back an hour later, and they were still out there playing.
Still having a good time.
Having a good old time. Two young kids.
Yeah. That was the most amazing thing is when I went to Egypt when I was with my dad. We were there for 3 weeks. It was you see these kids, they're just having a blast, man. They were having a great time. And I looked, and they were playing soccer, kicking something around the street. It was just duct tape. It was just a ball of duct tape that they were kicking around and having a great time. I was man, we got it good here.
You don't need an iPhone. You just need duct tape ball. Yeah.
I need a cup of coffee. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really illuminating. That's why I think it's like key for most people to travel for longer. But don't stay at the resorts, man. Like get out, explore the world, and spend a lot of time at those places. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Wow.
And talk to the locals. Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll
talk
learn
to the
more
locals.
than hanging out with the
Be
gringos.
a
Yeah.
lot
the
more
resort.
grateful
Yeah.
for what you have, right? Versus hanging out at Google or Facebook all the time and getting fed free 5-star food.
Yep.
All right, I think we're back in shape now. We had an overheated camera. So Cristobal told us so we should get. So we're using a Sony right now, which is good more for like short stuff and other stuff. So what would you recommend for like more long form kind of stuff, especially if you're doing hour, 2 hours more? What kind of camera? You told us off camera because it died.
For this case, you have the A7 IV. So the A7 IV is great for if you're filming like clips here and there, B-roll and stuff. But in terms of long, the thing they're known for is overheating. Once they pass a certain amount of time. For long form content right now, Blackmagic, they're very affordable, and the whole Blackmagic ecosystem in terms of camera and video production is great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Are the lenses and everything interchangeable with Sony or Canon or anything?
Yes. So Blackmagic has their own. Depending on what camera you get, they either have E-mount or Canon mount.
Okay.
So you can get one for Sony mount, Canon mount. So whatever lenses you have, you can switch them over.
And those would be mostly video, right? Blackmagic, you'd recommend?
Blackmagic for this case, yeah, Blackmagic's great, yeah.
I never even heard of Blackmagic. He was like, Blackmagic. I was like, what the hell's a Blackmagic? Have you?
Of course. Yeah, red too.
Yeah.
I usually just ask guys like this, which one do I buy? They say Blackmagic or Sony or whatever. I'm like, okay, buy it. And then, can you help me set it up? Okay, then we're good.
No, it's like this, it's like everybody tells me, what camera should I get? It's like, what are you doing? Just like there's hundreds of types of different hammers for different types of nails, different types of uses. Same thing with cameras and lenses. It's like, what are you doing? Then
great analogy.
Then you'll know what you need to get.
What would you recommend for like a starter camera for like someone that just wants to do a little bit of everything? Maybe they want to shoot some photos. Maybe they want to do some podcasts. Maybe they want to do some I don't know, short form, more like YouTube. I guess you could just use an iPhone 15 Pro, right?
Yeah. Sorry, can you take this one off?
What's the problem?
The cup.
Oh, my bad.
He's blocking my face.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, block that pretty face.
I'm not coming back to the next podcast. I'm gonna fire myself. Sorry, Rob, I interrupted you.
All right. So, what would be like a good like starter kind of catch-all camera? Like if say I came to you and I said, "Hey, what should I get if I want to do this, and this?" Which would be long form, short form, just kind of.
First thing I'll ask is,
starter, like,
what's
priced.
your budget?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And if
Let's start with $1,000.
$1,000 total everything.
Everything else starts adding up.
Honestly, just go to Costco, and I know that they always have deals with like the entry level cameras for So I think if I remember correctly, they might have Nikon or Canons there, and that's it. And they come bundled with a lens. I think it's usually like an 18 to 55 millimeter lens.
Okay.
And just go for. I think they. I haven't seen one, but back maybe a few years back, it was like $700.
Yeah.
And you can get it bundled with batteries and everything and a lens for under $700. Yeah.
Is there any specific feature that someone should either be like they should look for, or be like that you don't want something with that feature, or you think just pretty much any bundle there is going to be good?
Well, I mean, it's like what you said. I'm going to take a little bit of pictures. I'm going to take a little video. I'm going to take a little. Yeah, those are great. So they take great quality pictures. I mean, I started with the T3i, Canon, which is I bought it back in 2010, and I used that camera for 10 years. I did photography. I did video with that and stuff. So it's like.
That's your baby.
Yeah.
You still have it?
No, I had it up until recently, and then I just gave it away.
Gave it away?
I didn't need it.
That's like your baby.
No.
Is that how you started with that T3i?
That's the one that got me through when I was in school back in Spain. I had the 3 and that's where I would do all my practice and learn how to use it. Understand the methods.
And people can get used cameras too, right? Like I remember when we talked initially, you were like you could just buy like used cameras,
just buy the used
lenses.
ones. That's how I started.
That's a good way to start.
Yeah, I mean, the camera I use the most is the A7R II.
Yeah,
it's a Sony, and I bought it used for less than $1,200, and it's a professional professional camera that when it came out is probably $3,000, $4,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
So is the camera important or the lens more important?
I don't. Okay. This is my view. I usually tell people I'm camera agnostic. I've spent so many years like in the nitty gritty of cameras and details and this and that, give this and like, getting all into the technical side of things. And the more I evolve in my cinematography and in video production and the more important thing is what are you trying to tell?
Yeah.
What's the story you're telling? And all that will inform what camera you want to use, right? So I've used everything from the Arri Alexa 35 recently, red Komodos and red dragons and the Monstros.
What the hell is that?
It's a.
You don't want to ask.
Red Dragon?
Yeah, and
Silence of the Lambs or something?
No, even worse. They came out with the red weapon, and I'm
Red
like,
weapon?
they called it the red weapon. I'm like, when I heard the name, I was like, this is gonna be a nightmare when you go to the airport. It's like, what are you taking? I'm taking the red weapon. It's like, all right, come over here, TSA.
We got a special room for you.
Yeah, thank you, Red, for that.
Take your pants off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's too graphic, bro.
So all that from like the high-end cinema level cameras to your consumer DSLR that you can buy at Costco.
Yeah.
So I had a mentor of mine tell me once, it's like the greatest pictures that have ever been taken.
Yeah.
The greatest films or that you've seen, they were shot in cameras that were made 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. It's like what is the composition,
Yeah.
what is the lighting, and what's the story in that frame that you're trying to tell. The rest is just cherries on top. Yeah.
And we've worked with a lot of clients, and it's like I can resonate with that because some clients like they'll go buy a new iPhone, right? Like the iPhone 15 right now, and so they'll have really good quality content, but then the chemistry, what you would call it, I don't know if you use that terminology, the chemistry they have with the audience just doesn't connect, and they don't get any views, like nobody's interested in their content, like people just swipe past it.
Yeah.
So it's like that matters so much more than the quality of the camera, right? It's good to have a quality camera. It's got to be at least a certain level.
You need to have a good chemistry.
You got to have good chemistry.
Yeah.
It's-
He's
He's gonna use that one now.
The biggest tip I would give to anybody starting is don't even focus. And I've talked to many people. I want to start a podcast. I want to start this. I'm just use your phone. The phone you have is the best thing you have. I recently talked with a good friend of mine, and he called me like 2 days ago. I was like, hey, I want to start live streaming the sermons my church gives.
Yeah.
He's like,
Cool.
and I want to buy a camera and I want to buy this and so what's your budget? I have $1,000.
No.
And I'm like, have you done this before? It's like, no. It's like, dude, don't even sweat. Again, your phone is much more powerful than most cameras out there.
Yeah.
Don't even spend money on it. Get it done first with your phone.
Yeah.
And once that hits and people are seeing your YouTube live and there's you get 10 people watching, 100 people watching, then you can see, okay, now after a month or 2 or 3 you can invest in a camera.
Yeah.
The most important thing is audio. Because
You've been saying that to me.
yeah, you can forgive.
Like my Shure mics.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah, they probably sound fantastic right now. Yeah.
Sponsored by
I'm,
Shure somehow.
yeah, I'm using this DJI right now, so
I
yeah.
want it back.
DJI is good.
I need that audio.
It's not
But
the Rode though.
no, the Rode's good too.
Rode's good too.
They're all good.
What's it called? People are more. You can have the shittiest quality video, and people will forgive it if the audio sounds great. But the reverse is not true. You can have the best cinematic quality framing and visuals, but if the audio is crap, swipe.
Really?
Yes.
What? Why do you say that? Okay.
It's,
now I gotta
people
know.
are less forgiving on audio than
Really?
on the video itself.
Because some of us are blind. That's probably why, right? We can't
Correct.
see very well.
Yeah. Well, no, it's because
My eyesight's terrible.
we hear things, right? And
Yeah.
if somebody's giving a lecture and think that's interesting to you, but
Yeah.
you can barely hear it. There's a lot of noise, there's distractions. Like your brain is not processing auditorily like what's being said.
Yeah.
Right. But and even if the image quality is great, but if if the audio is clear and clean, it doesn't matter the image quality. People are more forgiving on the quality of the video than on the quality of the audio. So I would say, like, if you're starting out, use your phone. If you have an iPhone 13 and above, you're in good shape. I would say invest $400, $300 in like a DJI or a Rode or wireless mic, and then start there and work yourself up.
That makes sense. So use your phone with like a good quality lapel mic.
Yeah, and then you're golden from there.
Yeah. Okay, good to know. I never thought about that.
How many times have I told you, bro?
What are you talking about? Well, I did voiceover, so I had this mic and I had another one, and then I had all the audio equipment first because voiceover is like it's voiceover.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta have solid audio.
See, you're starting on good ground now.
Yeah, I know.
Your audio quality is off the
now
chart
I'm
now.
so focused on fixing the video. I'm like, I gotta have this camera. I'm like, no, you don't gotta have this camera. Yeah. So, what was the most interesting project you've ever done? You've worked on a lot of different things.
The next one.
The next one.
Oh,
yeah. Go ahead, pitch it. Let's
I don't
hear
know.
it a little bit.
I don't know what it is.
Oh.
It doesn't matter. What's the most interesting is the next one.
Putting it all together.
At least right now we're working to my business partner Steve O'Connell and I, together with Josh and Pedro and Ivan, we're all working on New Money Fight Club.
Yeah.
So we're going
We'll
around.
put the link in the
We started with going out there and interviewing amateur MMA fighters and Muay Thai fighters here in the Bay Area.
Wow.
And then basically in all the United States, we've been traveling to North Carolina, visiting the guys at Jim O Gyms. We've gone down to LA and interviewed guys that are training out of CMMA, pugilist, and all the great Hendo, the great gyms out there. And up here, guys from AKA, from the Resistance, from the Scrap Pack, El Nino Training Center. There's here in California is a hub for I would say martial arts, especially, and California has great martial arts out here. And
NorCal too, or
NorCal, yeah. I mean, we have here in NorCal, especially in San Jose, you have AKA American Kickboxing Academy. Yeah. That's where Khabib Nurmagomedov and all the Dagestanis come and train. Yeah. With Daniel Cormier. So and then there's a myriad of BJJ schools and Muay Thai schools here in the Bay Area. So we've been delving into that world, and we're having success right now. We're working on a documentary about the U.S. national team representing, going out there for MMA, representing USA. Yeah. We just recently, I think a month or two ago, we were down in Monterrey, Mexico, Steve and I, basically filming the journey that the MMA fighters are going through in representing U.S. in MMA. So they did pretty well. I think they got the majority of the medals in the different weight classes. And it was a fantastic experience for a whole week. We were out there, and I just bought my ticket last week to go to Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan. And so I'm going to go in the first week of November. I'm heading out to Uzbekistan to follow the same team as they compete. In Mexico, Monterrey was the Pan Americans. Yeah. So all Latin American countries were representing there. Yeah. And in Uzbekistan is going to be the Worlds. The World. So IMMAF is setting up this competition. Yeah. So we're following the same team that's over there to Uzbekistan. They're going to be competing against the big deal, the Eastern European countries, the Russians, the Dagestanis, from all over the world. So it'll be exciting to see them.
Badass people over there.
No, I was blown away. There's this one kid from North Carolina, 18, I think. And the way Steve, we saw them, while they were training in shadow boxing, and this guy's 18 years old, and he just started shadow boxing. Both of us, Steve and I, we looked at each other. This guy looks like a pro already. Yeah. And we're talking to his coach, and he's saying, yeah, he's already had 60 amateur fights. 60, and he's already 18. Because he's been doing wrestling, and he's been doing MMA, and he's been doing all this competition. So by the time they're 18, they already have the experience, right? And this is and MMA is very new in the world, and especially So most professionals, they have maybe 6, 7, 8 amateur fights and they jump into professionals. But now there's this new breed of MMA fighters and athletes that, they're doing it the old school way, the way that they're doing it in the Eastern European blocks and in other different countries, where it's like, all right, let's get them already in competition mode since they're kids, since they're 8, 9, 10, 11 years old.
They can take
so,
it a lot more.
Yeah, so correct. And by the time they hit 18, they've already gone. What's their fight experience? 30. What's their fight experience? 60.
Wow.
So they're already at. You see them. We saw him shadowboxing. It's like this guy, like the way his head movement, the way he moves. Like this guy's not. This guy, he already looks like a pro, and he definitely showed it in the Pan American Games. Like he did a fireman. I was blown away. He got taken to the cage, and they were struggling wrestling. They were against the cage, and he pulled off a fireman throw. And
fireman?
Basically, how a fireman carries you. He puts basically the crotch on one side, grab two legs, and on the other side. So there's a throw in wrestling and in jiu-jitsu. This is they teach you in white belt. It's basically you kneel down, you put him in the fireman, and you throw him on the other side.
You can do that?
And you can, of course you can. There's a lot of
whatever.
things. Yeah.
Oh,
You can do elbows to the face. What are you talking about? Yeah. So and he naturally just moved and did a fireman throw, and he called it. I'm gonna do it, and he did it just very naturally. And we were filming the coaches at that time, right? And they were telling, do this, and as soon as he pulled that off, the coaches were just looking at him, just quiet. They're like smiling, yes. So I'm just saying that there's a new breed of American MMA fighters, and they're gonna be in the next 5 years. They're gonna be top of the line. I'm foreseeing UFC fighters, Bellator fighters. They're gonna be at the top in the top levels in all the competitions around the world. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. Yeah.
So are these guys like semi-pro? Because is this most people know UFC, myself included. Yeah. So where does this line up with UFC? Or is it
this is amateur. So all this IMMF and the Pan American Games and the World Games that are happening in Uzbekistan is all amateur level. This is just amateurs. Yeah.
Okay. So the minor leagues essentially for UFC. Okay.
Correct. You could say UFC. Of course, the UFC is like the king of the kings. But these guys are it's their discipline level, their mindset, their dedication to this art form is bar none the highest that I've seen. And you talk to them, and I have massive respect because the maturity level that they have is way higher than your general population. So their goal is to rack as much amateur fights as they can. Yeah. So then once they hit the pros, they're trained. They're at another level compared to the rest of the competition out there. So.
And we haven't gotten into this yet, but Cristobal's a killer.
Oh,
I've sparred with him many times. I've gotten many of black eyes. Maybe we should add sparring to the podcast.
Yeah, just
that would be dope. Chase might have to train a bit. Chase is sparred.
Yeah. We got
make sure that you turn off power save mode. Rookie mistakes
again. Should I do the intro one more time?
What are you talking about? We already got the
first
had 45 minutes, bro. Yeah. We're just gonna. That's what happens when you're learning, though. So make sure you guys check power save mode. This is a
technical issue.
Rookie mistake.
See, the best thing about this is I'm watching you guys fumble and
and you've done all this.
I've done all this 1,000 times. Like, all right, I'll let you guys deal with it. I don't even know what to worry about it. I'm just here to talk.
But we're talking about fighting, man. It's like I feel like getting punched in the face. Like I hadn't. Have you been punched in the face before sparring? Mm-hmm. Before you had?
Yeah, outside a club.
Oh damn. Yeah. All right, but not not repeatedly.
What were you up to getting punched outside a club? Yeah.
Yeah. What happened there? Let's go into that one.
Polk Street, right? San Francisco.
Oh, in San Francisco.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Yeah.
Talk to other guys' girlfriends.
Yeah, that would.
That seems like Chase. No. You seen this guy when he's drunk?
No.
Oh my god.
He's
everyone's friend. Right, yeah, food is almost here. That's fine though.
Yeah, Polk Street, lots of memory when I was 21.
You were flirting with someone else?
Yeah, when I'm drunk, I become very
social.
Very social. Right?
Very social.
So you were hitting up another man's girl.
Not intentionally, I doubt, right?
Well, I don't know.
I don't remember.
100% deniability right now. I don't want this on camera.
We just put it all in there, man.
Yeah, let's just put it on there. But definitely, yeah. Like back in the old days, like we would always go out, cause like college, right? We didn't have much money, right? So, you go to the bar, you always like look for someone's drinks, right?
Yeah.
The free
No,
beer.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't
know?
know? Oh, okay.
No, what we did back in Uruguay in high school,
Yeah.
we would go to the supermarkets and they sell those cheapo carton of wine.
Oh,
that you can get
the
for nothing.
the boxed wine.
Boxed wine.
Yep.
So we would get boxed wine and we would put in Tang. You know Tang,
Tang.
the powdered drink.
With red wine?
With red wine.
Oh, that
so
sounds pretty good,
we put it. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, we get you drunk with a massive headache.
Yeah.
So
chugging that.
Yeah, as the kids, you can kind of get away with it because you could say, oh, it's for the family, it's for the So we would buy those boxed wines, mix it up with Tang, and that's what we would drink. We would put them in the Coke bottles.
Really?
Right? Because they had the same color as Coke, and so that's what we would be drinking.
Damn.
Mom and Dad, you never knew about this, but yeah.
Watch out for the Tang, kids.
Yeah, the Tang.
Yeah.
Wait, so we got distracted here. Let's go back to the story.
Yeah.
Polk Street.
Yeah, Polk Street, San
I wouldn't
Francisco.
go down there now.
Yeah, it was different, right? Because
So you were drinking other people's drinks. Is that what you said?
drinking other people's drinks, stealing other people's drinks, like. Because like if you look at the
How
Corona
does this
bottle,
work? I'm trying to picture this little Vietnamese guy walking up. And being
I'm
like,
literally stealing people's drink, right? Like someone's just like, oh, okay, there's like 25% left of the Corona.
I'll finish that for
I
you.
look left, I look right. All right, DJ, play my music. One for me. Oh, all right. Is that mojito done? All right,
Right.
Yeah,
It's like there's a sliver. It's ice, but there's a sliver of alcohol. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's what we
Would
did.
you mix up drinks as well? Like get this mojito here, margarita there.
Combine into one cup, yeah.
Manhattan, just mix it all up.
This is a Chase special. You offer it to a girl. I got you a drink.
Yeah, some girl drank it. And I was like, okay, is it good? She's like, it's really good.
Yeah.
The chase.
What was in it? Oh, that.
Yeah, they never asked, right? They never asked.
No,
Yeah,
we knew we'd be giving out bar tips here.
Bar tips. What's that mean?
Your bartender.
Ah,
Yeah,
bar
yeah,
tips.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Chase the
my-
bartender.
I'll do.
That might be my calling,
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we were selling tacos. We opened a taco stand.
Yeah.
Me and my best friend at the time. So I was the sales guy, right? I bring the clients.
Okay.
And then he and his other friend, we were always fighting with the vendors, right?
Yeah.
Because they set up their taco shop here, and then we're putting next to them. They don't like that, so
Mm.
they call the cops on us. And I'm like, bro, no one has the permit, right? You have permit? No. Okay, I don't have permit. So okay, what's wrong with me putting my shop next to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work like that, right?
There's enough for everyone to eat.
Right, but what would the cops say when they show up?
I mean, we got kicked out.
Yeah.
But wouldn't they get kicked out?
No.
Everybody get kicked out.
No.
They're locals. They're friends with the cops already.
Yeah. That
You gotta
makes
get the
sense.
cops called on you like 3 or 4 times before they let
It's
you
just
stay.
that handshake with $100 bill.
Yeah, exactly. Chase didn't have his hundreds.
No, there was no hundreds. We were selling tacos for $1, right, at the time. And that
Where was this? In San Francisco?
Yeah, that was in San Francisco.
Wait, you were selling Vietnamese tacos?
No, Mexican tacos.
You were selling Mexican
Bro,
tacos?
he's Mexican. He's not Vietnamese.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right, that's right, that's right. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Mexican.
He's a-
Toma!
He's the Vietnamese Mexican pirate.
There you go.
Oh man, good old days. Good old days.
Where did you go to school at? Did you go to school here in the Bay Area?
Yeah, College of San Mateo
Okay.
for Spanish major.
Nice.
But I dropped out after second semester.
Okay.
Because at that time I was working at McDonald's, and
McDonald's.
they
Nice.
finally gave me manager title, right?
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm a manager. I'm 18-year-old. I'm manager. So I was like, okay, I guess I don't need school,
Mm.
right? And I think that was one of the, you could say it was a blessing, right? Because
Yeah.
my all my friends, they gone to college, and then now they're like, oh man, they see people like us, right?
Yeah.
We're hustling, we're making money, we're traveling, we're living our lives, and we don't even have a college degree.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for them, it's like they're studying for 5 years, right? Civil
Yeah.
engineer, all this stuff, and they're barely, they're struggling, right?
Yeah.
They're working a job they like hate, right?
And they hate it, and then they
Yeah.
see people like us, and we're like, But for us, it's like we're the same, right? We know that every single day we're out there, we're hunting, we're adding values,
Yeah.
Whereas for them, it's kind of like they're in the system,
Yeah.
so it's very difficult for them.
The biggest thing that I noticed with people, especially ones that went through the Robert Kiyosaki path, right, which is go to school, get a job, get a degree, get married, have kids, buy a house, pay your taxes, invest in your 401k or whatever, right? Like you could say that 10 times, And almost everyone you talk to will be like, yeah, that's my path, right? Mm-hmm. It's because they're afraid of, breaking out from the herd. Because we've gotten really like this herd mentality. I just heard this the other day and I was like, man, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like people are in this herd mentality where they have to go to school, get a job, pay their taxes, do all these things. And they don't realize there is an alternative. And that's kind of why we launched this whole creator legacy thing, is because like everyone wants something different, but people want to be part of the group. They don't want to be separate. They don't want to be like a cinematographer that runs his own business. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be traveling all over the world. They do, but then the herd will tell them, no, come on back in, right? Yeah. Stay in the in group. Mm-hmm. Don't be one of those people, right? And that's why we're building a community for that, especially. It's scary, right?
And it's also like finding your calling. Like, what is it that drives you? What is the end of what is in the life that you want to lead? Where is it that you want to end up?
Yeah.
And that will define like the path you're going to take.
Yeah.
And the path of least resistance is the one that most people take. Shout out to Robert Kiyosaki. One of the regrets I have is not having read that book earlier in my life. Yeah. I read that later, almost in my early 30s when I finally read that book.
You mean Rich
Dad Poor Dad? Yeah. And that opened my mind because nobody had ever explained it to me that way. Mm-hmm. And his concept of he has the four, what's it called, the framework. You can be an employee, self-employed, like a freelancer, or you can be a business owner, or you can be an investor. Yeah. And just him breaking that down was mind changing to me. Yeah. And that's where like the wheel of the cogs started turning for me. And that book and another one a friend gave to me was called the Freelance Manifesto. Mm-hmm. And it's basically a graphic designer. He kind of made a book of like you could either be an employee as a graphic or as an artist, or you can decide to go the freelance route. So he created a book about if you're going to go the freelance route, not only can you make more money in it, you can dedicate your time to the projects that you actually want to do, and you can have more control of your life. And then the better you get at it, the more you level up in that game. So I remember reading that book, and I'm like, all right, I don't want to be an employee no more. And like I think a month or two later, I was like, I quit. Yeah. So one of the best.
You were an employee.
I was an employee. Shout out to Pedersen Media Group, Intrepid. I learned a lot from those guys. Mark Pedersen, he's I would say an icon or an emblem in video production here in the Bay Area. Yeah. So he had his company for 35 years. Wow. So I think
what's his name?
Mark Pedersen.
Mark Pedersen,
yeah. He used to do a lot of the events, the LED walls or projections and keynote events, filming back in the day. But I learned a lot of video production from working in that company, especially when it came to the high quality video production. But I was working for him and as an employee, and it was great. But it came to a point where it's like it's that 9 to 5. It's like you don't have access. You are at the mercy of the company. Mm. And I came to the realization that my personality type and the way I want to live my life and the way that I want to grow as a person, I cannot be tied down to working for a company. Yeah. And then reading the Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then reading the Freelance Manifesto, it got me thinking. Just take that leap of faith. Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, it's very scary. And I did it the worst possible way. Yeah. Because generally, when you speak to people who have done it, it'd be like, stay with your job
until
you make money, and then little by little start working as that route, the freelance course. I was like, nope, I'm out.
Bitches.
And this was in 2019, right?
Right before COVID.
At the end of 2019, so like 3-4 months later, March hit, COVID hit, and I was like, so I had to struggle a lot. I'm still struggling, man. Hey, life is a beautiful adventure. Yeah.
Exactly. But you're living it, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference between working a job versus working for yourself. Is you're living your life, right? You're not letting it being lived for you and just kind of living in other people's world. And it's scary, man. It's really scary. Like for me, my contract just ended, And I was like, I'm just gonna, it's time to do it. Chase, he did the same thing you did. He quit. You didn't have any income at that time, right? It just happened to work out.
Yeah, I was like Christopher too. I quit on a 1 day notice.
Yeah.
I remember I sent my email.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm quitting in 2 weeks, and then the next day I was like, oh fuck that shit. Here's my badge. Here's my.
I'm out.
I'm out. All
Yeah.
right.
No, yeah, I remember that. That was great. It was interesting because I remember that dinner that you were
It's
talking.
our fault.
Yeah, it's our fault. Yeah, I remember that dinner, and then next, I think like a week later, you're in Honduras. I'm like, where's
Yeah.
Chase? He's in Honduras. What? It's like,
What?
where'd he
Stuck
go?
to last week.
Yeah, he was here,
Honduras.
Here.
doing his own thing. Yeah.
Tiny man, what he-
Yeah. He's like, I took your advice. I decided to leave.
Yeah, I think I went a little bit too extreme though. I should have like, okay,
Had some money coming in.
yeah, had some
first.
money coming in like at that time. It was crazy, right? Because could be a blessing or bad thing, right?
Yeah.
Because before I quit, I used to like read a lot of credit stuff, right? How to grow credit, personal credit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I would, I think it's the forum, like MyFICO, right? Like, people post, like a Reddit, right?
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
people talk about credit all the time. So I would always be reading it, and I read it for like 5 years. So I was really good at obtaining personal credit.
Mhm.
Like most people don't know, like after you apply for a credit card, you call the analyst of that bank and you negotiate for a different credit limit.
Yes.
Most people don't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And rate too, right? You can negotiate the rate. You
every-
can negotiate the credit limit. You can negotiate.
Everything's negotiable.
Yeah.
In life, everything is negotiable.
Yeah.
So I learned that, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow. So if I apply for a credit card with Bank of America and they give me only 4,000 limit, I can call the analyst, negotiate with them for 20K.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Like I didn't know about that, so I was.
You have to have good credit though.
Yeah, obviously.
You have to have a good credit score at that point.
My credit at the time was really good, right? Because
Yeah.
I literally like pay my credit card every single day. Because
Yeah.
at the time I had like 20 credit cards. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know why I applied for so much because of the points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think Trey talks about it all the time.
Yeah. We'll get Trey on.
Yeah.
I'm still working on him.
Oh, we gotta bring him on. Trey's gonna
He's
be
the
fun.
he's the credit master.
Credit-
Yeah,
Yeah.
credit master. So he's more qualified than me. But the point I was trying to say is like at my previous job, I was only making like 60K, 80K a year.
Yeah.
But my total credit limit was about 400K, 450
Good. Yeah.
between 12 cars. So at that time when I left my job, I was already like in 30K credit card limit.
Wow.
I mean a debt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Debt, so it was terrible.
Yeah.
I talk about sleep.
Those are
like-
pedestrian numbers, bro.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh man, I couldn't sleep, right? And then when I quit my job, I had no income, so I keep on drawing the credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I thought like, oh, maybe I go to Honduras, work this job, maybe there will be some sort of exit, right?
Mhm.
Because I was supposed to get some equity in this
Yeah.
deal. Like equity means nothing if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If you never like vested it correctly.
Yeah.
So the point was, I was living on credit. I got to Honduras. I worked on the island. My debt was piling up, right? Because actually, the minimum payments on 30,000 is not a lot.
Like 500.
500. What is it?
Yeah.
1.5% of the amount.
Then now it's.
You're the Asian guy. You
Yeah,
do
I
the
know.
numbers.
Yeah,
I'm
come on,
Asian
man.
guy.
Like, that's
Bro,
awesome.
yeah, you're right. So it's like 750, right?
Yeah.
For the minimum payments. So to me, it's nothing. Oh, I make 2K.
Yeah.
Everything's paid for, right? I have 30K, but it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Because things are growing.
Things happen, yeah.
So the point I was trying to say is like it was a really bad thing, like using credit and to live on it, right? But this is the thing that I never regret, right? It made me realize that most people in life, like their objection is I don't have money.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot do this investment.
Yeah.
There's this whatever, this mentorship, this course. It cost me 5,000. I don't have money. Well, what about your credit card? Oh, I got 2 credit cards, each with $10,000 limit. So you do have money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Right? This thing, this little brick, if you take this course, if you learn this, if you take this mentorship, it will get you closer to your goal. Right? So now when I talk to a client or someone or whatever, a friend, and he's like, well, that person is like, oh, I don't have money. I'm like, bro, you're lying. You do have money.
Yeah.
You're just not resourceful. You're not thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
So my point now is, yeah, like if I could do it again, I would do it all over again. Like I would max out my credit card, whatever it takes. I would learn the skills, right?
Your business credit cards. Don't max your personal credit cards.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Let's agree to disagree. But I'm like, let's be resourceful, right?
Yeah.
Because you do have money, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not investing in yourself, instead of like we all spend money on the cars, the clothes, right? The camera equipment. I'm like, no, invest in yourself. So if I could do it again, I would do it all over again. But this time I would, instead of, spending the credit on luxury things, right? Travels and stuff. I would spend it on myself.
Yeah.
And invest myself.
And building your business.
And building my business, building my brand, right? Or whatever experience with my friends, something that I can like, capture instead of just like, let me go buy a nice suit with of $5,000 Tom Ford.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
And max out credit card. It doesn't work like that.
No, that's what people don't understand is like, you might spend like 10,000 on a mentorship, but maybe over the course of the next year, that 10,000 brings you back 100,000, right? We all join the business network. It costs what, 6,000 or 7,000 to join, and then once you're in, it's like you're going to learn so many more resources to be able to bring in other stuff. As long as you don't get distracted with any of the fun stuff, right? So the key is really like just spend that money up front so that you can bring more money in afterwards, because it will almost always happen as long as you're smart about it. Yeah, and you can get 0% credit cards for like we just set someone up and 140,000 0% for 12 months. It's like you can build 140,000 in income in 12 months very easily. It's amazing stuff. So, yeah.
You got crystal ball to start thinking.
No, but
you have to have good personal credit to bring in that much stuff.
Yeah, that too, and also the people you meet.
Yeah.
In the in that world, right? Because if you just go out to the gym, if you just go do your thing, you're not getting in contact with those who are way more knowledgeable about business, about credit, about starting businesses, how to manage money, how to financially be independent, how to think about money in a different outside the box, as you said, and just being in the rooms with people who are 10, 50, 100 steps ahead of you, just being able to be there, you learn so much because they're knowingly or unknowingly dropping nuggets of gold that if you're able to catch it, the ROI is there.
Yeah. 100%. That's one of the biggest things is like I noticed when I started joining various business networks and paying for like courses and stuff. I've always been in training, so I've always known there's a lot of value in it. But like getting it from the self-development perspective, it's like every dollar I have goes back into it. Either buying like equipment, which is going to help me grow, or spending. Because eventually you're going to get to the point to where you can't buy anything else. And then all that's going to be profit, right? And that might take 1 or 2 years, maybe 3 to 5 years, depending on your path. But it's certainly doable by everyone. But you just have to invest, right? And then just keep moving it forward and be smart about your spending. That's the key.
Be smart.
Be smart about it. Don't be like me. Spend credit card on lifestyle, right? That was not smart. But hey, whatever happened. So, I mean, for context, right? Like, that got me in $500,000 debt, So,
damn, son.
Yeah, so I was in $500,000 debt.
Wow.
Yeah. So that $30K debt was nothing now. So whenever I talk to people now, they're like, "Oh, I'm in $50,000 credit card debt." I'm like, "That's rookie. That's nothing."
That's a pedestrian number.
That's pedestrian number,
Well, you got to think about it when even Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about this. Is you have to leverage debt, smart debt, right? Like credit cards isn't smart debt, but if you have 0%, you can pay it off in 12 months. Then that's the key. The problem is like people will start spending and then they'll start buying like a dinner, right? Or they'll buy like a suit, or they'll go like travel somewhere. They're like, oh, I got the 0% credit card. No, you focus on building your business and spending it smartly, and it's going to come right back to you. Like I see people pile up 100, 200,000, 300,000, ad agencies, right? We spend 30 to 50,000 a month. So credit cards are always going up and down, but it's huge swings, right? You go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then it gets paid off. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then it gets paid off, right? And then eventually we'll get that number even bigger. We'll get it to like 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 every single month.
A day.
Yeah, or a day. A day, right?
100,000 ads a day.
That's how we scale. So it's like that's the difference. Is you have to be able to. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, this brings us back to sparring.
Yeah.
Fighting. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's the mental aspect of it, and I'm so grateful that 8 years ago I decided to take the path of martial art. I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai and getting punched in the face. I have a saying to myself: if I haven't sparred someone or I know that person has never been punched in the face, like I can't really trust you. Yeah. Right. I don't know because.
Why is that? Why is that?
What I've noticed sparring with people is that you start seeing a little bit of their personality come through. It's like it's very similar to when you're in when you see somebody else drive and you're in the passenger seat and you see them drive and how they drive, or you can tell a lot about the personality. Same with sparring.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and so it's you can tell a lot about a person through sparring and going back and forth, and it also builds a bond. That it's a very different type of bond than just hanging out and having drinks.
Yeah.
Or like going out to parties or whatever. Like I mean, we've done sparring before. We haven't sparred in a while, but but just because we've went through that boxing and learning how to get better with our hands. There was a shared commonality in that sparring. We got to know each other, and there's a certain level of trust and communication that I can have with you guys that I can't have with somebody that I haven't gone through that. So
yeah,
that
makes a lot of sense, because it's like, and for me, it's like after you've been punched in the face a lot of times, then you kind of get a little more comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right, and then you get into these situations. It's helpful in situations because like getting punched in the face doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good at all. Or punched in the stomach. Getting punched anywhere doesn't feel good. The body shots. But the point is, like, then you'll find that you're going to be so much more comfortable in those sales calls that aren't going right, right? It's like you know how to maintain your cool a little bit better. Or in situations, maybe in a nightclub, when a boyfriend is upset at you, maybe you can deal with that a lot better than if you didn't have a clear head.
Yeah.
So it gives you a lot more clarity in high stress situations.
And that's why I have a massive respect for fighters and MMA fighters, because you talk to them and they have a mindset that's very disciplined, very hardcore, they're dedicated to that art and that focus in life.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful to what we're building with New Money Fight Club with Steve O'Connell, my business partner, just being able to be with them and film them and interview them and bring them to light. Yeah, it's great.
We should bring Steve on. We'll have the four of us on.
Yes.
Talk about New Money Fight Club.
New Money.
Yeah. Is Cristobal going to fight again?
I promised myself before I turned 40 that I would have one more amateur fight in Muay Thai. So
how old is Cristobal now?
Cristobal is speaking of myself in third person. I'm 39. Yeah. So
39. When are you 40?
Next year in June. So
we got 9 months.
9 months.
Stay tuned for Cristobal. He said it.
He said it. Now,
so we have
now
this
it's
rule
out there. Now it's out there.
Us and everyone we talk to. This is another way. Like we find out who's about it. Right?
Yeah.
Is because if people say something, do they do it? Do they follow through, or do they constantly like flake out? I mean, life happens, right? We understand that. But like if they're constantly like this is why I'm very careful, and when I say what I'm going to do, I said we're going to do a podcast, so now we're going to do a podcast. Right? I said we're going to do this, so now we're going to do this. And it's having that conviction to your words is really important. So Cristobal says he's going to fight.
It's out there now. It's going to happen.
And it's going to be on YouTube for all of our 10 viewers to see.
Yeah, no, I just hope my coaches don't watch this, because they'll be like, all right, yeah, why aren't you here? Hey, it's training. It's
What's your coach's name? I know what Jimmy goes to, so it's already too late.
Yeah, shout out to John Herney, Eddie Solo, Alexis Davis. Yeah.
So you talk about the I guess the interviews that you're doing right now. What is it? A documentary?
Yeah, that's right. The camera shut off. No, we have a lot of things in the pipeline with New Money Fight Club.
And sorry to interrupt. Like, how do people find out more about it?
Check us out at New Money Fight Club in Instagram and New Money Fight Club on YouTube, and then you'll see all the stuff that we're developing. The most exciting part of it is right now we're working on a documentary following the U.S. national team representing USA for MMA at the IMMAF World Games. It's going to happen in Uzbekistan at the beginning of November. So I'm going to be flying out there November 1st, November 2nd, and I'm going to spend a week over there in Tashkent. Basically documenting their journey as they're fighting all the Eastern Europeans, the amateurs, the Asians, all around the world. They're going to show up.
All the Vietnamese too.
No, too small for that. We never win anything, bro.
Yeah, it's good. That's what we're up to. We also have a documentary called Trial by Fire that New Money Fight Club is producing.
That's
And
exciting.
that is extremely. I'm very, very excited about. We have Danny Trejo as one of the executive producers.
Do you guys have the trailer already available?
Yeah, the trailers. I think it's still there. I think it needs some color correction, but we're working on the trailer. I've seen the first cut and it looks really, really good. So.
Yeah, we'll put a link to that. Do you guys have any resources for that or anything?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I don't think we have a website for it, but that's to come. Yeah.
So what about if someone wanted to hire Cristobal for a cinematography project? Where would they find you?
Instagram. Hit me up on Instagram at cristobal.creates and just hit me up in a DM there, and I'm here for all your video production needs.
That's excellent.
Only in the Bay Area, or that's worldwide?
Worldwide.
Oh.
Worldwide. I speak.
Especially in Roatan.
Roatan, yeah, we're good.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, definitely. Like Cristobal's, like his background, right? The way he is like he's a very calm person, right? So for me, like when I'm surrounding or being around with him, we're all like, these are the kind of people I admire, you know. So I feel
thank you.
I feel very honored.
Oh.
No, seriously. Like I admire you guys. I'm like, you know, like, you know what the action takers are, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's humbling, right? For a guy like me, like I just turned 31 yesterday, right? So I'm like,
You did? Happy birthday, man!
I know.
Yesterday.
Happy birthday, man.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm like, holy shit! Like I gotta get my shit together. You know? Like I spent all my 20s traveling, learning from different people, but now I'm like, you know, I gotta put my root down.
Time to get serious.
Yeah, time to get serious. Because that's the advice that I've gotten from so many people, right?
Yeah.
That chase you all over the place. You're doing this, you're moving over here, right? Next thing you know, you're living in Tijuana, you're living here. I was like, no. Let me find more people, right? You know, Raw, Cristobal, Steve, right? Leland, right? Surround myself with people like that.
Yeah.
So I can be like, okay, more grounded, you know? It's good to have all this creativity flowing and running around, but at the same time, like if you want to create something special, you know, you have to surround yourself with men who have their shit together.
Yeah.
You know, and they've been through a lot, right? To get to where they are. You know, so I can't just be like, oh, I already know all this, you know? I've seen the world. No, it doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Their wisdom to absorb, right?
Yeah.
And I know you guys been through a lot, you know. That's why.
Well, everyone has a story, right?
Yeah, everyone has a story, but I'm like, man, these guys, I don't know, like sometimes they're too calm, you know? And I'm like...
It's not only that, I agree with you, but it's also that, you know, keep that child in you, that 8-year-old, if you remember who you were at 8, that curiosity, the ability to learn, and the willingness to keep learning.
Yeah.
Like if you're able to keep that for the rest of your life, you're always going to be in good shape. And regardless of how your experience of what you've been through, if you're willing to humble yourself and just keep learning from those around you, especially like if you surround yourself with high level people that are on the same wavelength, then the world's your oyster. So nothing's gonna stop you.
Yeah. And I think that's the key is, like, you just keep moving forward. And some people get in a year, some people get in 3 years, some people get in 5 years, sometimes 10 years.
Yeah.
But the key is just keep moving forward. But yeah, it's
and
really
more
hard.
important than that is find people who keep you accountable.
yes.
Thank you, Rob.
Goals.
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 What's your goals?
We're going to the legend.
Let's not go into that. I'm very hungry right now. But
Yeah.
let's keep going.
Well, we do got our food here, so I think
we're
that's,
Gucci.
So make sure you guys look up Cristobal. He does amazing work in cinematography. He does a lot of amazing work in photos. He does great photo shoots and everything. And he's got some really great documentary projects coming up.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Thanks for joining us,
Oh,
Cristobal.
thank you guys for having me. It's amazing.
Oh, did we handshake? Shake hand on here? No.